Okay, gang, this week we're moving to Egypt. As you can see, the Eye of Horus here should be fading into that of King Tut. And then you're left with my fantastic face. So, what I want to do is make sure that we all know how to go to the homepage. Made some changes this week to try and smooth things out a little bit to the website, so I want to draw your attention to that. If you click on week 3, each day has been put into a folder. Okay? So we want to go back to the home page. We're going to go down here and look at our assignment guide. Remembering activities are done in black, assignments are in blue, due dates are red and underlined, discussions are in green. Things that are in progress, circle, check mark for completed, X is canceled, NR needs revision. 1 through 5 on how well you understand the activity and how it pertains to what's going on. Those of you that are in flipped instruction, this is going to be checked, not next week, but the week after. So week 2, objectives. I think that we handled all of this with Who Killed Utsi. We'll be talking about those papers probably on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Additionally, let's scroll down here to week 3 and see what's in store for us. 1. What are the landmark contributions of ancient river valley civilizations? Still working on this, and obviously moving to Egypt. 2. How do the characteristics of government systems assist in the development of civilizations? 3. How did the development of the ancient civilizations contribute to the beliefs of the polytheistic and monotheistic religions? And 4. What was the significance of the domestication of animals and plants to early civilization? I think that we've pretty much handled number 4, but we're going to look at it as it pertains to Egypt and the plants that they domesticate there. As we look at Monday, we're going to have some Egyptian jokes and a read aloud about culture called Green Banana. We'll do our Modern Monday walk, which will be hopefully on the video here pretty quick. And then the vocab list is on the website. Reading assignment is pages 44 through 60. We'll talk about that in the textbook. And then your note guide is also underneath Monday. There will be available on the counter when you come on in. So go ahead and grab one of those. On Tuesday, we're going to try and split it up a little bit. Monday night, the flipped classroom, you're going to need to do some research on irrigation. Those links and videos are posted underneath Tuesday. You're going to come in and play with some irrigation technology that we borrowed from Mr. Miller. Everybody else, you're going to come in and look at writing the oral traditions of the ancient Egyptians in hieroglyphics, demotic, or hieratic. Should be a pretty exciting project, and the products should be fantastic as they turned out last year. Then on Wednesday, we'll go to the Egyptian PowerPoint and WebQuest. Thursday, then, we're going to look at Hammurabi's Code of Laws as we look at kind of a standard way of right living in Egypt and the Code of Laws in Mesopotamia that Hammurabi brings from Babylon. And then for homework on Thursday, flipped classroom guys, you'll be responsible for creating the formative or doing the Egyptian quiz. It's going to be a Google form. And then on Friday, you will walk like an Egyptian and finish up your Hammurabi's Code, writing was it just? And that will be Group B that will be graded this week. So for those of you who are in Group B, you can choose whether you'd like for me to in-depth grade week 1 paper or in-depth grade week 2 paper, and everybody will be graded on completion on this paper, so everybody will need to turn it on time. And as you can see, it's due. This is a typographical error, so let's go ahead and change that. It's going to be due on September the 3rd. Okay? Questions about any of this? Flipped classroom, you guys are going to have this thing due on September 2nd, so Sunday about 8:30 would be the time. Alright, we're back at the website here. As you can see, the objectives are posted underneath week 3. As I told you before, you click on them. You're going to go ahead and get the Monday items, Tuesday items, Wednesday items, Thursday, and Friday, and so on. For Monday, what I'd like for you to do is to go ahead and click on it. Here's the Modern Monday walk. Let's go through it. Those of you that are in flipped instruction, expecting that you're going to be able to review these here pretty quick. Remembering that the claim of the class is that history does not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. So some things that we're going to look at. 3100 BC, Narmer unites Upper and Lower Egypt. This comes from the British Museum online, and what they institute is a bureaucracy. So we're going to see those governors that are being put into place here, and we'll talk more about the social structure on Wednesday. But the idea is organized governments. When we create civilizations, we're going to get organized governments as one of the things that we have. Events that rhyme. Republicanism, with a semi-presidential system of government, is recently overthrown, and that actually happens in Egypt. So this is happening last year with all the protests that you may have been reading about in the news. In 2700 BC, the pyramids at Giza are built, and we're creating a theocracy. A theocracy is a theos, meaning God. Krasi is a government, so a God government, where in fact the Pharaoh is a god on earth. He is a God man. This theory should be sounding somewhat familiar to you, because this is the first time that we start looking at, rather than a God-appointed king or a God-ordained king, we're looking at a God government or a God ruler that is actually a God incarnate. And the pharaohs were the Ra incarnate, or most closely related to Ra, the sun god, or Re, as he's sometimes spelled, R-E. This is talking about complex religions. In the Arab world, Egyptians tend to be predominantly Muslim today. Again, a complex religion. In 2450 BC, Ptahhotep creates instructions for the viziers. Those are those governments that we mentioned above, governors that we mentioned above. Viziers are the level of bureaucracy just underneath the pharaoh and the priests. So what we're going to start to see is job specialization. You're going to get this whole status. And then today, teachers and workers are protesting the government in part because of unemployment. So again, this started happening mid-year last year, and to bring it up to speed, we've kind of put in place a new government in Egypt, and we're having trouble being friendly with them at the moment. In ancient Egypt, bigger is better in art and in pyramids. What this means is that things that are emphasized in the art are larger than the things that are less than emphasized. So you'll see a king that is very, very large sitting next to a servant, which might be standing and being very small. The other thing that we're looking at is the Suez Canal in 1869 led the Arab world in cinema and photography, and in the 1940s developed a focus on poverty and old ways with the modern techniques. So you're seeing arts in ancient Egypt as well as present-day Egypt being kind of the center of art and being a springboard for the rest of the world, as far as in Africa and the Middle East. Again, ancient Egypt created calendars, advanced medicine, they have prosthetics, they created geometry and irrigation. These are all public works. We're going to talk about irrigation, especially in Flipped on Tuesday, and your homework for tonight should give you some of those videos as well. For the last 200 years, the Egyptian Department of Public Works has focused on irrigation and hydraulic pumping while being the most respected engineering school in the country. In 2700 BC, hieroglyphics, hieratic, demotic, and papyrus. All of these things are writing, and then today we can compare those to paper. So hieroglyphics are put on papyrus paper. Today we write handwriting on paper. Hieratic would be like a cursive. It's more of a shorthand kind of version of the hieroglyphics. And then demotic is a T9 word or a texting version. For those of you that can remember T9 word, it's where you had to push the numbers to get the choice of 3 letters on your cell phone. And that was an early kind of texting. So demotic has a limited amount of characters, but is able to be written much faster and much more useful in transactions. The final thing that we see, the final concept, is the social classes. On top you have the pharaoh, then you have the viziers and priests, soldiers, scribes, merchants, craftsmen, peasants, and slaves. This is a pretty set structure in Egypt, and it's set up in a pyramid. There's one pharaoh, there are a few viziers, there are more soldiers, there are more scribes, there are quite a few merchants, there are even more craftsmen. There are a ton of peasants, just like in Mesopotamia. We're looking at 80-85% peasants, and the final group is slaves. And they're a large group, as we saw in our 10,000 BC video clip. They were traveling all the way down into the southern Sudan, even into Ethiopia, and capturing slaves to bring back to Egypt early on in prehistory. correlation to the social structures. Egyptian society has been separated by wealth in modern day and times. They have a bourgeoisie, or haves are the bourgeoisie. This is kind of a Marxist term that I wanted to introduce to you here. And the have-nots are the proletariat. Again, Karl Marx. And as we talked about earlier, last year there was a large divide between the haves and the have-nots, and quite a bit of protesting over it. Going to go ahead and end this broadcast for Monday here, so that you can try and respect your 15-minute time frame, and look forward to seeing you in class Monday and Tuesday. Got 2 pretty exciting days, and the rest of the videos will be to follow.